I have told you the basic requirement of communication is source IP, destination IP, source MAC and destination MAC. Generally, you will see your devices has source IP, source MAC. You will define the destination IP, but machine will not have destination MAC address, right? And all the machines where we can configure IP addresses maintain a table called ARP table to store MAC address with IP address. And whenever you are going to send any traffic to a destination device from source device need source IP, destination IP, source MAC and destination MAC. If these three things are there, like source IP, destination IP, source MAC, and destination MAC is missing, not there, then what? Then
It will go on hold.
then your actual traffic will go on hold at layer 2, and ARP protocol will call to ARP, hey ARP, come here and please find the MAC address of this particular IP address. After that, ARP protocol is going to generate a ARP request message. We have also seen that inside the ARP request message, what informations will be there, like your target IP address, which is the IP address of destination device. And if destination device is in different subnet, then target IP address will be the IP address of
Default
default gateway, right? And target MAC address will be 000, which is unknown. And then at layer 2, source MAC will be the MAC address of sender device, and destination MAC will be broadcast. When your PC is going to resolve the MAC address of destination IP address, it is going to again encapsulate the actual packet at layer 2, which is called frame, and then it will hand over to lower layer, which is physical layer. After that, physical layer will convert my entire data into bits depending on the physical cable, sometime into bits into signal, into light signal, into electrical signal, and then it will forward from the media. Right? So sender machine is going to perform encapsulation and receiver machine is going to perform decapsulation. You know the meaning of encapsulation as well as this decapsulation. We had also understood some important like features, or you can say, yes, features only, or utility you can say, like segmentation, dividing large data into a smaller data at transport layer at network layer. Dividing large size of data into a smaller part at network layer is called fragmentation. Dividing large size of data into a smaller part of data at transport layer is called segmentation, and only TCP can perform segmentation. How TCP is going to find the size of segment? Anyone?
Based on MTU size.
What is the formula? Minimum MTU between source and destination minus transport layer header information plus network layer header information. Usually 20 bytes for transport layer, 20 bytes for network layer. Means network layer. Segment size should be 1460 bytes. As UDP cannot negotiate the minimum MTU between source and destination, UDP protocol doesn't perform segmentation. In that case, your layer 3 device like router will divide large size of data into a smaller part at layer 3. That particular thing is called fragmentation. After that, we talked about addressing. We have two types of addresses to identify devices in the network. First one is MAC address. MAC address is 48 bits address represented in hexadecimal. Total we have 12 characters, and those 12 characters are divided into two parts. First part is called OUI, organizational unique identifier, that will be assigned by organization called INA, and last 6 characters means 24 bits is vendor assigned. Vendor can choose any number in last 6 position. Then we talked about IPv4 address. IPv4 address is 32 bits address represented in dotted decimal. We have total 4 fields. Each fields carry 8 bits of information, and with the help of 8 bits your decimal value can be 02255. So my IP address can be from 0 to .0.0.0 to 255.255.255.255. Total we have 2 power 32 IP addresses, but the requirement is used. So we divide IP addresses into private, public, then we come up with subnetting. Again, subnetting is dividing large network into multiple smaller network, and the smaller part is called subnet, is called subnetwork. Sometime we had also solved some subnetting questions from class C, class B, and class A. And now today is your very important class. Today we are going to understand Cisco operating system. Like you guys have worked on Windows operating system, Linux operating system. Maybe if you are the fresher, the Cisco operating system can be new for you. So we'll understand about this operating system, how this operating system works, some basic verification and configurations, the memories. I will talk about the memories of routers, switches, right? Like if you are going to perform any configuration, let's say host name R1, so in which memory your router is going to save the configuration, what will happen if I will close the device, if power will goes down, will I lose the configuration, or configuration will still available on the devices, or should I save the configuration? When I will save the configuration, then where again my configuration will get saved. Yesterday in last class I had also shared one PDF of basic commands, like to configure DHCP on the router as well as on the server in packet tracer, SSH, telnet, right? Multiple application layer protocol configurations, commands to configure multiple application layer protocols. And I had asked you guys to perform these basic labs. Either you can perform in GNS3 or in packet tracer. You need to test with the help of packet capturing. In packet tracer you can use simulation mode. In the GNS3 directly you can capture the link through Wireshark and see the informations inside the headers. If anyone have any question in these all topics which just I have recalled, please ask so that we can move further. Now I am going to connect everything, right? Individually we have learned whatever classes we are going to conduct in future. Now all the classes are going to connect these all individual things together, and then we'll understand the enterprise network. Keep in mind my design which I had given you in the first class: multiple core layer devices, distribution, access, and end devices. I will start from the bottom, right? Client machines are there at the bottom, then we have access layer. So first we will master access layer, then distribution, then core, switching, then routing. We'll move in this way. If anyone have any question from the previous topic, please ask. Otherwise I am going to share my screen. At the same time, side by side, I will start packet tracer also. Here let me open the packet tracer. GNS is required. For now GNS is not required. Later I will see if it is required. Definitely I will turn it on. Here is the GNS 3. On the GNS 3, if I will show you how routers looks like in where is the zoom option? Here it is. Zoom it. Is my screen visible for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
What
sir.
is this? This is router. Cisco router 2811 router. Why this blank? What is this? This blank black?
And this is, I think, vacant slot.
Slot. These are slots.
Slots.
Right? So
Here is it.
based on your
Slots
requirement,
from
you can purchase the card.
Card.
Right? Let's suppose I have fiber cable. So I will purchase the card which can support the SCP. Let's suppose I have Ethernet cable. I will purchase the card where I can find Ethernet port, LAN port. Getting my point? And in the slot, let's suppose here I have a card and I am going to insert it into slot number 0. And in this card there are some port number 1, port number 2, port number 3, and port number 4. So what will be the interface ID of this port? Tell me the interface ID of port number 1, this port. This card is inserted in slot number 0.
0001.
0/0. The first 0 is slot number, second 0 is
Port number.
port number, right? And after that, before this, type of port. If this is the fast Ethernet port, then it is going to be F0/0. If this is gig port, G0/0. In packet tracer, here you can see these all are what? Cards. These all are cards which you can insert in the slot. Apart from this, you can see power cable, turn on and off button, some more fast Ethernet port. There is one console port. What is the use of console port?
Connect with
To
laptop.
connect directly from your PC.
Console port is for management. For what? Management. To
Local
manage
man.
this device, to configure this device. Let's suppose, as most of you know, that in production we access our devices through SSH protocol, right? Earlier we were accessing through SSH. Nowadays we are using automation tool like connect handler, right? So, but if you have just purchased a brand new router from the market, can you SSH that router? No. First of all, you have to push the configuration there. You have to perform some basic configuration. Even let's suppose I have just purchased one router from the market and my configuration for this router is stored on this TFTP server. TFTP server. So I will push the configuration on this router from my TFTP server. Then also, first of all, we have to make reachability. These two devices should be able to ping each other. Correct? Means we have to at least configure one IP address on the router. How will do that configuration? Through console port.
Local.
Console port is for initial configuration, right? Or sometime when your SSH is, let's suppose, not working, management IP address is not reachable, right? Or management IP address is reachable but you are not able to access your router through SSH. Again, you need to access it through console port. So console port give you the physical access to your device, right? In the production, how you will access this router? You need a PC or laptop. You will connect this PC to router through this console port, through console cable. This cable is generally called as console cable. And here on your laptop, you need a terminal. Even you can do that in packet tracer, because in packet tracer, what's happened? Let's suppose this is my router. Right now I'm on physical, click on CLI. It is going to give me the CLI access. Simply if I will click on the router, I will get access, CLI access. See, if I will double click, I will get the CLI access to my router. First of all, whenever you will access the router, it will ask you this question. What is this? Would you like to enter the initial configuration dialog? Can anyone tell me the meaning of this? What it mean? Would you like to enter the initial configuration dialog?
And default configuration.
It will by default, like we can configure using this dialog, like configuration. It will ask all the questions.
Yes, like see, to configure hostname, command is hostname and then R1, whatever hostname you want to define. But here if you are going to say yes, router is going to help you. Router will ask what should be the host name. Please tell me host name. Then you will say type, you will only type R1. Right? Forget about this. In production, how I will access this router? You will use your PC or laptop, one console cable. Here you can see this one is the console cable. If I will take my cursor on the cable, it is going to give me the types, like which type of cable it is. Like this is console cable. Here you can see in the bottom, this is straight through cable, this is crossover cable, this is fiber cable, this is phone cable, this is coaxial cable, this is serial DCE cable, this is serial DTE cable, this is octal cable, right? So IoT cable, USB cable. let me select console cable for now. Let me connect one end of this cable on the router on the console port and one end on my PC, right?
Praful, one request.
Go ahead.
Please explain about about the Ethernet LAN cable, about how many ports are there and what is the function of that particular ports in the LAN cable.
See, cable is our topic. Definitely I will talk more about that.
Okay, then no problem.
See, I have connected my laptop to router. In the same way, you will access your routers first time in the production. This is how you will connect your laptop first time in production. Means here is a router. On the router, first you will give the power, you will mount it in the rack and those all things. After that, you will connect this router to your laptop through console cable. And in your laptop, you can open any terminal like putty. Putty. If I will open putty here, then you can see in the putty, I have multiple options, like I can access it through COM port, I can SSH, I can telnet, right? So through serial COM port, you can access your router in production. This is router and this is my PC. In same way, here I have connected in packet tracer router to my PC through console cable. I can say this is PC 1, let's say. Now on the PC, I will open any terminal. See, on the PC, I have not configured any IP address. Even that is not required because I am not going to send any traffic to router. Right now, I am trying to configure the router. So let me open the terminal, say OK, and here you got the access to your router. Right? You can imagine your router is in rack. Right? How? Again, you can check the physical here. If you will click over here, see how it is going to looks like in the rack. Is it visible?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
This is my router. If I will use one more device here, let's suppose switch, go to logical and let me add one switch as well here. Router is connected with switch. Now if you will check, you will have two devices in rack, you can see, and router and switches are connected with this cable, and here you can see the port number as well. What is the port number on router, what is the port number on switch? Right now on the router I have only two ports, F0/0 and F0/1. If you want to add more ports, you have empty slots. Here you can add the card. Okay, so on the PC I got access to my router. First of all, it is asking me, would you like to enter the initial configuration dialog? If I will say yes, it is going to ask me lots of questions, like you can see. Would you like to enter the basic management setup? Let's suppose yes. Now you can see, enter the host name of your device R1, enter the enable secret password, right? What password you want to configure here. It will ask you for management IP address, management interface. So you will always type no here. When you will access your router for the first time, you will type no, and when you will save your configuration, it is not going to ask you this question again. So keep in mind that here we will type no always. And
No,
side by side,
no.
let me open that PDF as well, which I had shared with you in the last class. Notes, CCNA, notes, iOS, basic iOS commands. Here it is.
Praful, could you please share this in our group?
Definitely I will
WhatsApp?
share. After the class, just put it in your group. Please share the PDF.
Okay, thank you.
See, now my router is boot up. again we will also see what is happening behind the scene when router is booting, right? When I turn it on, it was booting. Now after the booting again it is asking same question. This time I am going to say no, and when you will say no, you will get access in user mode. This mode is user mode. This is very basic verification mode. Here you can't apply any configuration, right? You can only verify few things, like you can check version. So version, you can see the version of your router. 1 minute. Guys, there is some difference between platform and version. Platform is another thing, right? It is talking about hardware, and version means I'm talking about software version, right? So this is right now current version of this router is iOS version 15.1, right? And here you can see the operating system. Operating system is in which format? .bin. This is my operating system. Cisco iOS software. This is platform 2800 software version 15.1, and somewhere you will see the platform as well. Platform of devices. In version also there are few things which we need to discuss today, like configuration register number is 0x2102. What is configuration register number, right? Where this operating system is stored. If I will show you the flash memory, so flash, then you can see your operating system is here. It is stored in flash. Even you can update the operating system. Let's suppose this operating system is old, I want to upgrade. First of all, you need latest operating system. You will upload that on TFTP server, and you will learn how to upload from TFTP to router. So after accessing your router, you will get, first you will type no, and then you will get access in user mode. This is user mode. It allow you to view the state of router, but will not allow you to modify its configuration. We can't apply any configuration in this mode. The next mode which is available on the router is enable mode. Here after running enable command, in this mode you can perform some basic configuration, but again this is not configuration mode. This is main verification mode. What I told you, in user mode you can only verify few things. If you will put question mark in the user mode, see how many commands are available. That's it.
It's also called privilege mode.
Yes, enable mode is also called as privilege mode. See, in user mode only these commands are available. You can trace route, you can telnet SSH, you can run show command, ping, logout, exit, enable, disconnect, disable, and connect. And this is session number to resume. So only few commands are available. In enable mode, if you will run question mark, you can see how many commands are there. Lots of commands are available, and after running one command you will have again multiple options. So this mode is called enable mode or privilege mode, which is the main verification mode of your routers and switches. Main verification, here you will verify everything, right? Now who can run what command here, or who can configure the devices? Who can only run the show command? Because in the enterprises, let's suppose you got your first job, you will not allow to configure devices. So there is another thing called privilege label, through which will create the user and will define the access. You must have heard about AAA, authentication, authorization, and accounting. Authentication means who is going to authorize you, going to ask you for username and password, who are you? And authorization means what you can do, and accounting means what you did on the router, means logs of what you did. So for authorization, like what you can do, what command you can run here. Later we'll understand the privilege level. Through privilege level, how we can define a particular access to a particular user. For now, you all have all the access in user modes. Whatever options are available, whatever commands are available, you all can run it. This is main verification mode, and here we can perform basic verification. For an example, see, in user mode, again from privilege mode to user mode, how you can go one step back from privilege to user? By using exit command or disable command. And to enter in privilege mode from the user mode, there is command called enable, right? Here if I will try to check IP address, so IP interface brief, this command is available. This command is available. So IP protocol, so IP protocol, this command is also available. So IP OSPF neighbor, this command is also available. So these are commonly used verification commands which are available in your user mode as well as in privilege mode. But you will see so many commands are not available in user mode, but it is available in privilege mode, where you will perform all verification in privilege mode here. Okay, but where I can configure the device, Praphul? To configure the devices, you have third mode called configuration mode. See, this is user mode. To enter in privilege mode from the user mode, enable command. If you give enable command in user mode, notice the prompt changes and you move into the privilege mode. This mode allow administrator to modify some configuration of routers and switches and to verify everything. Again, you can use disable in the privilege mode to go in user mode. And then here is the main configuration mode. This is called configuration terminal mode, and command is configure terminal. So when you will access your router, first of all you are going to type no, then you are going to type enable, and then configure terminal every time to configure the devices. No means I am going to configure router from the scratch. After that, enable to enter in privilege mode if you want to verify something, so IP interface brief. After that, to change IP address, configure terminal. It will take you in the configuration terminal mode, and here you can perform all configurations. But can I configure interfaces in this mode? No. See, to configure interfaces, we have another mode called interface mode, right? Command is going to be interface, then interface type, fast Ethernet, and interface ID 0/0. Here I will configure the interface. Similarly, to configure OSPF on the router, we have OSPF mode, router OSPF, router EIGRP, router BGP, like this. So all the OSPF related command will be available under router OSPF, not in configure mode. Configure mode is for router configuration, right? So these are modes, different modes on routers and switches. You will find same on switches as well. Switch, see, user, and then enable, then I am in privilege mode, and then config terminal, I am in configure terminal mode. After that, I had told you these basic configurations, right? Like configuring description. Here is the same question. You will always type no here. Command to change host name. All of you know the command to change host name. How many of you have changed the host name of router switches? Is there anyone who have
Yes, I
not
have.
changed?
I have changed.
Anyone who have
Yes,
not
sir.
changed?
Yes, sir.
Not changed.
Top host
Yes, sir.
name, R1.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Not changed.
Not.
Not
Change,
till now.
change.
Changed. Anyone who
Change.
have not changed host name of device till now? You all have already changed. So see, my router is connected to the PC through console port. Then I have switch. My switch is connected with multiple client machines. You know, this is basic network, a very simple network. even I can delete this PC now, because you understood how you will connect your router or how you will access your router for the first time, right? Like, see, right now I have accessed this router R1 through console port, through terminal. Now I am going to set up my router for telnet, so that, let's suppose this is admin, network engineer, who is going to configure router. You are the FE, field engineer, who is setting up this router for remote access. So how you will set up this router for remote access?
Configure telnet or SSH.
You will first
SSH
configure
or
IP
telnet.
address on the port F0/0 IP address. Let's suppose 192.168.1.254.255.255.255.0, and now you will enable telnet. So this is the reason why I had given you this PDF, so that you can find basic commands to configure telnet SSH on the routers. See command to configure telnet. Here it is, line VTY04. What is line VTY? Virtual interface on the router, right? So on this router I'm going to run command line VTY024 and password Cisco and login, exit. Now can this admin PC access my router?
Not yet.
Let me configure IP on the PC 192.168.1.1 and default gateway 192.168.1.254, let's suppose. Exit, and let me try to ping my router first, right? To access through telnet or SSH, first of all reachability must be there, 192.168.1.254. So see, router is reachable from PC number 1. Now I can try to telnet. Command is telnet and the IP address 192 telnet 192.168.1.254. It is asking for password. Password is Cisco. Now I need to change host name of this router first. Let's understand the very basic configuration. To configure host name, can I configure host name on router number 1 in this mode?
No.
No.
No, host name command is not available. So I will run enable command. When I am running enable command, what is saying? Password is required, but
Nope.
password is not set,
Not set.
right? So this FE need to run one more command on the router. After that, he can disconnect their laptop and he can leave the site. Enable password, let's suppose Cisco, and he can, now you can create the user. Now rest all the things will be done by you. Now I am going to delete this PC. Now you got the access of your router through telnet. Now you will perform all the configuration. Enable, you have enabled password which is Cisco. Now you got access in privilege mode. Go to configure terminal mode and create user here first. User for myself, let's say username admin, right? Here I can define the privilege level. 15 means I can do everything on the router. Privilege level, you can see total 0 to 15 privilege are there. I will talk about this later. If you want to give all the access, full access, then privilege level should be 15, and then password Cisco. Now first of all, I don't want anyone should have access to my router, right? To access this router, not only password is required, username and password both should be required, right? Means only admin can access or only Praphul can access this router. So similarly I can create one more user, user Praphul, privilege level 15 and password Cisco. But if another PC2 is going to access this router through telnet, it will only ask for password 192.168.1.255.192.168.1.254, and if I will try to access this router, then it is only asking for password. only asking for password. So who is the user? Anyone who have password can access this router, but password is configured with username, right? So on the line VTY interface, not from here, from this admin PC, I am going to change the configuration of line VTY 0 to 4. What is the meaning of 0 to 4?
Like 5 user can log in at a single
Yes,
time.
5 users can log in to this router at a time.
Same time. Like
At the same time. Mhm.
Yes, at the same time. Here is one command as well to verify that. Show users, I think. You can see which user has accessed this router right now. The user with IP address 192.168.1.1, right? And is this user doing anything? It is idle, and on which port it is there? On line VTY 0. So total 5 users can access this router.
Sir, what is that 324 like star?
This is like sequence number,
Okay.
right? So now on line VTY, instead of login, I am going to say login local.
Synchronize,
Login
local.
local, right? Now if anyone will try to access this router through telnet, it will ask for username as well as password. See,
Password.
telnet, now it is asking for username first. Username Praphul and password Cisco. Now I got the login directly in which mode? Directly in
Privilege.
privilege mode.
Privilege mode.
Mode.
I don't need to run.
So, sir, what's the difference between login local and login synchronize?
So login is going to ask you only for password, right? If you know the password, you can access it, right? But now on the router, I have created a database where I have defined the password for all the users. I have 2 users. Now no one can access this router even they have the password, because password will work with username only. So login will only ask for password, login local will ask for username as well as password. Okay, now if I will talk about the configuration, basic configuration, so here I can set host name R1, host name R1, and in the PDF you can see the basic configuration. First of all, you are going to protect your router. Right now your router is open for everyone, anyone can access this router, right? So how many ways are there to access this router? One is line VTY, and on line VTY you have already configured the password, you have protected console port, right?
Right.
First of all, I am going to protect my console port, line console 0 and login local. Now if anyone is going to connect their laptop through console cable, can they access?
No.
Now they can't access, right? Because now console port is protected. See what will happen if I will try to access it through console port. It is asking for username. Now if I have username, then only I can access this router. So okay, now my console port is protected. Another is who can move from privilege level to configure mode, sorry, user mode to privilege mode, exit. Telnet, and here I am creating one more user. First let me log in. Username was admin and password was Cisco. Config T, username, let's suppose Cisco or test. I'm giving privilege level 7 and password Cisco, exit. Sorry, let me try to log in from this PC. Telnet, username test and password Cisco.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, what is a privilege 7, sir? Privilege.
Privilege, what I told you, privilege, we will discuss the privilege. Privilege is what kind of access you have, user have. Like this is a user test. So test user can run how many commands on the router. You can limit that through privilege level. In privilege level, we can add the commands that, hey, this test user can run router OSPF command. That's it. Let's suppose I have two engineers. One engineer is managing OSPF, one engineer is managing BGP. So I will only allow this user to run OSPF related command and this user to run BGP related command. That can be controlled through privilege label. Cisco and Cisco.
Sorry, can we give any number or do we have any range?
Sorry, what I can give?
Can we give any number or do we have any range for that level?
Total 15 levels are there, 0 to 15. 16 levels are there.
Okay, okay.
Right, we'll configure that. So now in the initial configuration of router, you can test these configuration like protecting your router first of all. For that, password on console port, then password on enable mode. Like if anyone want to move from user mode to privilege mode, they should have password. That password is called enable password. And if you will configure enable password on the router, like right now enable password is already configured, so run, you can see enable password is in plain text, right? If you want encrypted password, then you can configure enable secret. Even you can encrypt all types of password by enabling this service, password encryption, right? This service is by default disabled. You can see no, this service is disabled. Like if I will run shutdown command, see these are the services available on your router. Interface F0/1 and no shutdown. It is creating log message. Is there any time in the log message, guys, when this log message is generated on the router? Can you check that? No, you can't check that. Do so run, because see service for time stop debug date and time in millisecond is disabled, right? Or service timestamp log determine in time date and time in millisecond is disabled. So these are three services which is by default disabled. This service is to encrypt the password, right? To encrypt all the password, whatever password you are going to configure on the router, that will be encrypted if this service is enabled. But this service is by default disabled. That's why my password is showing in plain text. Let me just enable this service password encryption, and after that if I'm going to run do so run command, then you can see password is encrypted, right? Similarly, if you want time in the log message, you can enable this service time debug or log debug date and time, then in millisecond log time and log in date and time in millisecond. And now if I am going to shut the port 0/1, let's suppose shut down, so you can see now in the log message time and date is also there, right? So these are three services available on the Cisco routers and switches, and by default it is disabled. You can enable it, or you can configure enable secret password. Then to protect console port, you will configure password on the console port. To protect line VTY port, you will configure password on line VTY port. To configure your routing protocols has their own mechanism for authentication, which we will discuss at the time of routing protocol only. Then what you can configure in basic configuration, initial configuration, host name, then protecting your password means configuring router, banner on the router, right? If you want anyone who is accessing this router should get one log message before access. Let's suppose this is the private router of PM networking, right? So I want to give one log message that this router is open for all the user, whoever have username and password. Or if you want to give any message before accessing this router, before accessing this router, then also you can configure the description, so that when someone will access, they don't have the password, can also get to know about the password. Like here you can write the password, that password in another text, so that only your employee can guess it. Or welcome, you can give some information about this router, like this is the core router. What is the command? This is the command motd banner, motd. After that use any special character and then message, right? Let me show you. Username admin, password Cisco, config t.
अनिल भाई ये याद है, हाँ याद है, एक बार ये हुआ था, हमने मेल पे भी लिख, हाँ मेल पे लिख दिया था, इतना सिटी में कॉमन होगा.
क्या हुआ? Banner motd, after that any special character, let's suppose @ or hash, and then this is my core router, don't change any configuration, please contact to Praphul, please contact to Praphul, what happened, motd banner, motd hatch, please contact to Praphul on 9644177412 and hatch. Right now, see, if anyone is going to access this router for the first time, here is the message, please contact to Praphul on this number. No, you don't know the username, how you will log in? You will call me. After that I am going to share the credential, right? So this is your configuration. You must practice these basic configurations on the router. How to set the banner. After that, how to save the configuration. But before saving this configuration, I want to discuss one more thing. Let me open one more PDF. Just a minute. Notes.
So are we gonna have a lab on this to practice ourselves? You're gonna give us a lab to practice?
This is the lab only. This is the lab. Here is the commands you need to practice on the router in packet tracer. How I will give you the task. This is the task. Configure hostname on the router. Configure banner on the router. Save the configuration like this.
Praphul, one doubt.
Go ahead.
In the line protocol, you mentioned no, there are line V device 0 to 4. Is it same for all the devices, or is it based on the capacity of the device? Like, can we have more user
See,
to log
yes,
in at the same time?
you can have more users as well. On the routers and switches, total we have 16 users. At a time, 16 users can access the devices, not more than that.
By default for all the devices, right?
Yes, for all the Cisco routers and switches.
Okay.
That is more than sufficient. See here. Guys, can you use any hardware without operating system? What is operating system? What is OS? Any idea? Anyone?
Operating system is a software that
allows us to communicate with the hardware.
Between hardware and user.
Exactly, right? Without operating system, you can't use any hardware. For an example, this is your laptop. Hardware. And if software is not installed over here, can you access it? Can you use it? No. Right? So on the hardware, you have to install software, which is your operating system. You can install Windows 10, Windows 11, right? Linux operating system, any operating system. Nowadays we have virtualization, so on any hardware we can install any operating system. Earlier on the Windows hardware you can only install the Windows operating system, right? So here on the hardware we need operating system. right? Then only you can use it, control it. What happens when we turn on any networking device first? When you turn on your laptop, while booting, do you know what happens? First of all, post operation happens behind the scene. What is post?
Power on self-test.
Power on self-test means your device, when your device is booting, at that time first it is going to check all the hardwares, that all the hardwares are working properly or not. Then only it will boot up properly. Otherwise, sometime you will get error. Let's suppose there is issue in the flash memory. Can your device boot up? Not boot up. If there is issue in hard disk, can your device boot up? Not boot up, right? So post process means power on self. The same thing will happen on router as well. When you will turn on your router, first it is going to check their all hardwares, their ports, RAM, ROM. How many types of memories are there? Memory,
is it two?
which one? If it is two, then tell me the name of both.
RAM, ROM, flash.
No, it's a no. The volatile memory is non-volatile memory.
Very good. Volatile and non-volatile. Right? See, here we have talked about router. Now, here are a few types of memory which you need to learn. First one is RAM. RAM is random access memory. It is volatile in nature. What is the meaning of volatile?
When system will boot it, everything will.
Yes. Content will erase. Whatever configuration you are performing on the router is getting saved in RAM only. In RAM only, like you can see here on this router, I have configured so many things: username, password. If I am going to turn it off and turn it on, now you can see my router is booting, and when it will boot up with the default configuration, which is in operating system. Which are the part of operating system, and in operating system the host name of your router is router only. You can see you lost all the configuration because it was saved in RAM, so RAM is volatile in nature, means when power goes off from the device, the content of RAM will lost. In RAM we can read and write the content, right? Read means your all show commands. To read the content, we can use show command, show IP interface brief, right? This is the RAM data. We can read and write. We can configure the interface as well, and we can check the configuration of interface as well. That is the meaning of read and write. In automation, you are learning this first, right? To push the configuration, to get the configuration. Okay. Second type of memory is ROM. ROM is read-only memory. Whatever data is there in ROM, you can only read that. You can't write. And ROM is non-volatile memory. So which kind of data I will store in ROM? Any idea?
Startup config.
Default.
On your routers and switches, ROM store backup operating system, right? The mini iOS. In case of RAM corrupted, you can boot up your router from ROM. You have to learn how to boot up from the ROM. By default, router is booting from the flash. We'll understand the booting behavior of router as well. But for now, just keep in mind, ROM store a backup operating system. Clear, guys? And this is non-volatile. If power bill goes down, still you will have your content. Third type of memory is NVRAM. This is type of RAM but non-volatile. We have created another type of RAM which is non-volatile. Non-volatile means it can be used to save our configuration. Let's suppose I have performed some configuration on the router and I want to save it. If power goes down, still I should have data. So RAM is the volatile in nature and NVRAM is non-volatile in nature. Non-volatile random access memory, type of RAM in which content will remain same if power goes off. And the fourth type of memory is flash memory. Flash memory is another type of ROM. We have generally two types of memory, RAM and ROM. RAM is non-volatile, RAM is volatile, ROM is non-volatile. NVRAM is type of RAM, flash is type of ROM. It is electrical erasable programmable read-only memory, right? It is type of ROM in which the content can be read as well as write. What is the function of ROM? In ROM you can only read. In flash you can read and write both. Clear? That is the difference between ROM and flash. Both are non-volatile memory. ROM is non-volatile only, but this is read and write memory. In the flash you are going to store operating system. On the router, if I will talk about the router, or on the switches, we have RAM, we have ROM, we have flash, and we have NVRAM. RAM store what? Your configuration, whatever configuration you are going to perform. Flash will store your operating system. ROM store mini operating system, or you can say backup operating system. And NVRAM is empty by default. If you will save the configuration, save RAM configuration, then it will copy it in NVRAM config, right? By default, if I will talk about the booting behavior, so when you will power on your router is going to look up flash memory. And based on the data present available in the flash memory, which is your operating system, it is going to boot up. After that, it is going to look up NVRAM, that is there any data in NVRAM. If yes, it will load that in RAM and you will get access in user mode. For an example, someone has configured password here and you forget the password. What you will do? You will tell your router, bro, just boot up by looking into flash only, don't look up NVRAM. Means it will skip the password. It will not ask you for password. This can be the password recovery. Yes or no? Yes. By default, router is going to boot up by looking into flash and NVRAM. It will not check mini RAM, not RAM. So these are four types of memories on the router. Here you can see the content inside the memory, like content in the memory of router. RAM store routing table, ARP table, running configuration, interface buffer memory, and so on. Whatever configuration you have performed. ROM store post. Post is like a small program, right? A small coding. Mini operating system, bootstrap program, etc. What is bootstrap program? Anyone have idea? Bootstrap is again a small code. Program means what? Set of instruction, code only, right? So bootstrap helps devices to load the operating system from flash to RAM, because see, to boot up router need data in RAM. When your device is off, the RAM is empty. So router is going to load operating system OS in the RAM with the help of bootstrap program, and then NVRAM data into RAM, and then you will get access. Operating system in RAM and NVRAM. So like host name, by default host name is what? Router. Where is that configuration? That configuration is in my operating system. My operating system has some initial configurations. Then NVRAM store a startup configuration file. A startup configuration is saved configuration. Configuration register number value. I will talk about configuration register value. And flash store main operating system. Guys, the first operating system of Cisco is iOS. Can anyone tell me how many operating system we have in Cisco? Okay, how many operating system you know?
iOS and IXR.
iOS
And
and
Nexus
XR?
OS. Nexus as well. Nexus OS.
Nexus operating system?
iOS
SDN?
XE, XR, Nexus OS.
And
Yeah.
SDN operating
SD-WAN.
system as well.
Yeah.
So the very first operating system of Cisco is iOS. iOS stands for
Image operating system.
interconnect operating system, right? This is classical operating system of Cisco. All the operating system is based on iOS operating system only. Classic operating system or classic iOS, right? On old routers you will find iOS. In my EVNG you will find iOS XE or iOS XR. Even in your EVNG, if you have set up from my EVNG video, then you don't have iOS router. You have iOS XE or XR, right? Right now in the packet tracer I am using which router? 2811 router. This router uses iOS operating system. 2900 series router, 3900 series router. These all routers are old routers. Then Praphul, why we are learning it? Why you are teaching old routers? What it is? This is classical operating system. You can't understand any Cisco operating system if you don't know the iOS operating system. On the switches, these are for routers. For switches, in packet tracer, I had told you to use 2960 switch. You can use 3560 switch. You can use 37650 series switch. These all switches uses iOS operating system, but these are old operating system. Think of iOS like origin of Cisco operating system. It is origin of Cisco operating system, the first operating system. This is simple, very simple operating system. Easily you can learn it and runs everything in one plane, right? Even there is question mark to find the commands. For whom Cisco has designed iOS operating system? For enterprises. In CCNA we learn operating system. Even today if you are preparing for CCNA 200301 lab exam, you have to perform all the labs on iOS operating system only, and that's why it is available in packet tracer, right? Even a small businesses, like for lab purpose we are using, a small businesses still uses iOS. Even I am also using iOS device in my home. A small businesses.
Praphul, which one is the best operating system?
Yes, let me discuss all first. Old routers and switches uses iOS operating system, right? For home lab, if you want to set up your home lab, again you will purchase devices to run iOS operating system. But guys, in the enterprises nowadays we are not using iOS operating system. In a small offices you can find the devices like this router 2900 series router or 3560 switches, but not in the corporate. Now earlier this iOS operating system was very popular. Even today also it is popular, but in our enterprise network, in service provider network, in data center network, we have another operating system. Now for today's enterprise network, we have operating system, Cisco operating system called Cisco iOS XE. What is the XE stand for? Okay, you can find later. You can say this is yes, extended of iOS. You can say this is modern iOS operating system. Modern iOS means latest iOS. You must have heard about some devices like CSR router. How many of you have heard about CSR 1000V? Even it is available in my EVNG. So CSR 1000V uses iOS XE operating system. 4300 series router uses iOS XE operating system. 9400 series routers uses iOS XE operating system. Similarly, for the switches, we have Catalyst 9300 switches. You must have heard about this switch in SD Access. If you are going to learn SD Access in future, you will practice on this switch only. Even in my lab, in my SD Access lab, we have 9300 switches only, 9400 switches, right? No any logic to understand the series of routers which uses iOS XE. You need to understand iOS XE is the modern version of iOS for enterprise network. For enterprise network. iOS XE, what is the difference, Praphul, in iOS XE from iOS only? So iOS operating system has only iOS command, but iOS XE will give you iOS XE will give you all the iOS commands, whatever commands you can run on iOS, plus Linux command. This is the reason why network engineers need to learn Linux nowadays. All the operating system, modern operating system which we are using in the production has Linux interface. Right? So on iOS XE router switches, we can run Linux commands as well. Right? Inside the operating system, Linux operating system is running, or you can say iOS XE operating system is based on Linux operating system. Right? Even see, let's suppose iOS is crashed on CSR 1000V. Still your router is not crashed because you have Linux operating system. Right? So you can still manage CSR 1000V through Linux. This is the benefit, and this is the reason why we are using iOS XE operating system in the company. If anyone have idea, yes, sorry.
Virtual routers, they use this kind of.
Yeah, this is CSR 1000V is virtual router. See, another benefit of iOS XE is it supports iOS operating system has only manual configuration, or you have to configure devices manually. You have to run commands here only. Config t, host name, right? Manually running the command on the router. Doesn't support automation, but nowadays, we are configuring devices through Python script. We are using Python libraries. So iOS operating system doesn't support Python. That's why we are using iOS XE. iOS XE operating system supports automation. Network automation means like API, netconf. Later you will definitely learn this protocol. Netconf is a management protocol, right? RESTconf like your SSH is used to configure devices. Netconf is also used to push the configuration, right? But difference is netconf can configure lots of devices simultaneously. RESTconf is again another advanced protocol of netconf, etc. Benefit of using iOS XE. Then it also support containers like Docker. It support Docker container, right? These are not available in your iOS operating system. And for which type of network Cisco has designed this operating system? For enterprises. Similarly, later maybe some of you are going to master the service provider network. Here in CCNA, CCNP, we are learning what? Enterprise network. So we will master which operating system? We will master iOS XE operating system. And if you know the iOS operating system, iOS XE is also same, but some advanced features, protocols, Linux is available. For service providers, Cisco has designed another operating system called iOS, Cisco iOS XR. This operating system is dedicated to large enterprises or service providers, right? Like if you want to manage your WAN edge devices through SD-WAN, you should have XR router at the edge, right? iOS XE here also I can say it supports SD-WAN. We can manage iOS XE router also through SD-WAN. So in the enterprises edge at the core position, right? When I was talking about the network architect, many of you are asking this question that Praphul, at why we should have core layer and why I will use router only, why I will not use switch. So sir, you are going to manage your edge devices through software, through controller, right? Later you will learn that as well. For service provider, I have XR, iOS XR operating system dedicated to service provider network. You must have heard about ASR 9000, right? If you have idea about the service provider network. So this router uses,
Yeah, it's also ASR 1000.
yes, this router uses iOS
Yes, yes.
X. 1 minute, sir, 1 minute.
1002. Okay.
1002.
1002, right? Companies like telecom company uses this router. Your service providers like Airtel, on the internet, in internet backbone, in the core network, you will find these routers, and here we are not going to learn it. These routers are mainly designed for high availability, high reliability, for zero downtime, right? Multi purpose design, right? So I am not going to talk much about iOS XR now here. I am not going to talk much about iOS XE here now. I am going to talk first iOS, which is the classic operating system. And similarly, like for service provider, we have iOS XR. For the data center network, Cisco has designed another operating system. Can anyone tell me the name? For data center?
Nexus.
Yes, for data center we have Nexus operating system, right? You must have heard about spine switches, leaf switches. Their Nexus operating system will work. So on iOS or iOS XE, how many types of routers are, memories are there inside the router? 4. And RAM store all your running configuration, ROM store your mini operating system, bootstrap file, and post program. NVRAM is going to store the configuration register number and saved configuration, and flash memory is going to store iOS image. And here is the booting behavior. See, when the device will power on, post process will run. As I told you, device is going to check there all hardware components are working fine or not. Post stand for power on self test. In post process, devices will check that all the hardware components are working or not. Then bootstrap will run and it will try to load iOS from flash in RAM, from flash to RAM. Then once your operating system is in RAM, here you can also see what is bootstrap. Bootstrap is a small code. Once your iOS or operating system is in RAM, now router is going to decide how I should boot up. For that we have configuration register number. What is configuration register number? Configuration register number tells router how to boot up. Configuration register number tells router how to boot up. Like this is the booting behavior of router. If you want to change the booting behavior of router, you have to change what? Configuration register number, right? Default configuration register number is this one. And what is the behavior of this configuration register number?
Load the device.
What is the booting behavior?
It's booting from the flash.
Yes, booting behavior means copy operating system from flash to RAM and copy NVRAM data into
RAM also.
Into the RAM. Let's suppose this is my RAM. This is my NVRAM. And this is my flash. Don't check ROM. Right? If configuration register number is this one, then it will not check ROM. It will just copy operating system from flash to RAM. Let me write. It will copy iOS operating system into RAM and saved configuration from NVRAM to RAM, and it will boot up. Let's suppose flash is corrupted, right? Your operating system iOS is corrupted, router is not able to boot up. What you will do, you will change this behavior with the help of another configuration revision number. Definitely you will have one another configuration revision number where router will not look up flash for operating system. It will look up what? ROM for operating system. It will copy
RAM.
Yes, mini operating system into the RAM. But you should have knowledge how to change configuration revision number. Right? To play with configuration revision number, we have one another mode on router that is called Roman mode. Which mode? Roman mode. Can anyone tell me how I can enter in Roman mode? Because on the router in packet tracer I have not seen this mode. I got access
You have to break your configuration so it defaults to Roman.
See, when
That is to break your password.
When your router is booting up, right now you can see router is booting. After boot up, I will get access in user mode. But if you want to enter in Roman mode is dedicated to play with operating system. Right? You will have multiple options to play with operating system. Roman mode is for operating system only, like changing the configuration revision number. And to enter in Roman mode, while booting, you need to press one key. Again, I am going to turn it off. This router, I will turn it on. And on the CLI, you can see it is booting. I will press Ctrl+C. Now you can see I got access in Roman mode. Right? If you will put question mark here, you can see these 5 to 6 commands are available there, like TFTP. TFTP means you can download the image from the TFTP server. As your flash is not working, right? After that, reset option is there. dir command is there to check the directory. dir flash, I think dir flash done. We'll see. Then one option to
colon,
check. Yeah.
flash colon at the end colon.
Exactly. See, one option is there to change configuration register number, configuration register utility. So from here I can change configuration register number, and after that simply you can reset your router. I will show you some behavior, some another configuration register number as well. After that, iOS image will be checked from the flash, and if iOS is found, then it will load into the RAM. If iOS is not found, then image will check from the TFTP server, but you have to change the configuration register number. Then if iOS found, then it will load into the RAM. iOS, here I am here. From here we can load in flash on iOS operating system is it will look up for NVRAM, and it will load the startup configuration file. And if a startup configuration file not found, then it will boot up with RAM, right? And here are the modes of router. So now we have understood memory on the router and basic booting behavior, like how my router is going to boot up. And here are again some basic commands, like to configure banner, to change host name, to configure enable password, enable secret, right? To encrypt all the password on the router, to configure IP address on the interface, and some verification command. To save the configuration, you can use this command, write command on the router. See, right now I am going to just configure interface F0/0 of my router. Interface F0/0, say no shutdown, and host name I'm saying R1. Host name is changed, but my configuration is not in NVRAM. See, command to check RAM is show running configuration, correct? This command will give you what? RAM information, whatever data is in RAM. So the total data present in RAM is 588 bytes. This is the length of data present in RAM. This is the default configuration. I have only configured two things: no shut command on interface and host name. Rest all the configurations are default, like some services are disabled, so one service is enabled. Host name configuration, SAF is disabled for IPv4 as well as for IPv6. Then this is related to license. Then a spanning tree protocol mode. Then interfaces, you can see by default router interfaces shut down. I had told you this, by default interface of switches are up and router is down. By default ports of router is down. Then VLAN, okay, after that you can see line VTY configuration. This is default configuration. And to check NVRAM data, command is show startup configuration. What it's saying? A startup. Yeah.
So why is it saying that the interface VLAN 1 is shut down? It's virtual, right?
Because it is shut down. Yes, virtual interface can be also shut down, na?
I thought you
shut the
said
virtual interface as well.
The virtual. So is this was manually, or it was shut down by default? By default.
By default.
It's in default.
On real devices, your SVI interface will be up. In packets, in simulation, it is down. You have to run no shut command
to bring it up. Okay.
Now, here is the command to check a startup configuration, and you can see I don't have anything in a startup configuration. Now, if you want to save this running configuration into a startup configuration, command is copy running configuration to a startup configuration. It will copy all the running configuration data into a startup configuration, and a startup configuration means NVRAM. NVRAM is non-volatile. If your power will goes down, no problem, still you will have data. But I want to save it on TFTP server. Let's suppose I want to take backup.
Startup configuration will be saved in NVRAM.
NVRAM, yes. TFTP. In the application layer protocols, we had not performed the lab of TFTP. Okay, today I'm going to use this TFTP server to take backup of my router configuration and switch configuration. For backup of my routers and switch configuration. See, on the router, I am going to configure one IP here, which is, let's suppose 192.168.1.100. On the switch, these are, let's say, management IP address, right, to access my routers. 192.168.1. let's say 10, and on the TFTP server 192.168.1. let's say 15. Okay, any IP address. These are my IP configuration. Let me configure it on the router. Config T interface F0/0, or you can write down all commands in notepad and simply you can paste it on the router. See how. This way, if you will configure or perform all the labs, you will understand the commands in more better way, right? For initial time, guys, for now you guys should directly type the commands on router because there is chance of mistake, right? But when you will be familiar with basic configuration, then always type all the commands in notepad, like first run enable command, then run config T command, then go to interface F0/0, then type no shutdown, then run IP address, and IP address is 192.168.1.100, 255.255.255.0, then exit, set the host name R1, configure line VTY 024, and password Cisco, then login local, exit, then create username, user admin, and password Cisco, exit, to encrypt all the password. Which command is there? Service password encryption, right? And you can, like, whatever basic configurations are there, like banner. To configure banner, you can run command banner TD special character, and this is corporate router, like this, and exit. Let me copy all the commands, right? Later I will ask you to configure router in this way, not running commands directly on the router. See, if I am going to paste all the commands on the router, see, if any command is not accepted, this command is not accepted. Service password encryption, this was my last command, by the way. So after that, motd command is there. Motd command is already accepted. Why this command is not accepted? Let me check. Service password
spelling is incorrect.
Okay, spelling is incorrect here. Encryption, right? Again, I am going to copy and let me paste. This time let me see all the commands are accepted. Yes, now you can see this time all the commands are accepted. If you will exit from here to check that I am getting the message or not. So yes, this is corporate router, run enable command, and then config T command, and here in the enable mode you can verify. So IP interface brief. So IP interface brief. I will talk about the verification commands later as well, right? These are very basic verification commands. IP address on the interface. Now I am going to configure TFTP server, and through same commands I can also configure the switch. To configure switch, instead of saying F0/0, I can say VLAN 1. Here I can say no cert. I can configure IP address 1.10. Host name I can say switch 1. Line VTY04. Password login local, it is going to be same. Rest configuration is going to be same. Let me copy, and instead of router, here I can say switch. Copy the commands and paste it on switch as well. Again, you can see all the commands are accepted here, right? And if I am going to ping router from switch, will ping work? Is ping working? Yes, ping is working, Praphul. Host name is changed. Yes, host name is changed, Praphul. And if you will exit, am I getting log message? Yes, I am getting the log message. Now let me configure this TFTP server. On TFTP server, IP is 192.168.1.15 and gateway IP address if you want to configure 1.100. DNS server is not required for now. Go to services and enable TFTP service. You can see some images are available on TFTP server, but right now I don't have configuration of R1 and switch. Now I want backup of R1 configuration and switch configuration on this TFTP server. So like I said, to save the configuration in NVRAM, you are going to use command copy running configuration to a startup configuration, but this time I am not going to copy running configuration into a startup configuration. This time I am going to copy running configuration into TFTP. So running configuration to TFTP and hit enter. It is asking address of TFTP. What is the IP address of TFTP server? 192.168.1.15. And now if you want to see the packet, like we have seen the packet flow for all application layer protocols in previous class, you can use simulation mode, right? I am expecting now you know the packet flow, right? So simply I'm going to hit enter. Now it is asking for destination file name. What should be your file name, right? On the TFTP server, I can say R1, let's say config, R1 config, and now it is saving your configuration. You can see 721 bytes data copied in 3 seconds. Now on TFTP server, if you will check the directory, then you will find this configuration. You can see R1 configuration, right? Now let's suppose I am going to replace this router. There is some issue or the end of life or maybe any hardware issue. So you had created ticket for Cisco and they have sent you the new router, right? So what you will do, you will delete this router. You will delete this router from here and you are going to add new router. But what about the configuration, Praphul? Now you can take backup. You can store the configuration from TFTP server, yes or no? But guys, what I told you, this is again brand new router. First of all, I need to configure it through console. I have to make reachability from router number 1 to TFTP server. See, let me access it directly because you know how to access through console as well. CLI router is boot up. Enable, just I am going to configure IP address for reachability, nothing else. F0/0, no shutdown, and IP address, the management IP address 192.168.1.100.255.255.255.0. That's it. Now let's suppose another 10 interfaces are there, those are configured. IP addresses are configured on those interfaces. Routing protocol is configured, and those all configurations are saved on my TFTP server. So how I can restore that? Copy TFTP to startup. Before running this command, check connectivity, that TFTP server is reachable or not. So TFTP server should be reachable. You can see it is reachable. Directly now I am going to run command copy TFTP to running configuration, or you can take it in a startup configuration. If I will take it in a startup configuration, then my configuration will enter in NVRAM, and in the next reload it will copy in RAM. Now directly I am going to copy it into RAM. So copy TFTP to running configuration. Address of TFTP server 192.168.1.15. Source file name R1 config. This was the file name. Destination file name. What should be the destination file name? Running configuration is fine. Yes, it is fine. Just enter. Now you can see 721 byte data copy in 0 second, and you can see the host name is changed. Earlier host name was what? Router. Now that means what? Now it has recovered the configuration, reloaded the new configuration right from the TFTP server. Similarly, I want to take backup of my switch configuration. So on the switch also copy running configuration to a startup, not a startup, sorry, TFTP, or put question mark. See, you can put store your configuration in flash, in the FTP server, SCP server, right, in TFTP server. So we had already seen the practical of FTP. That's why I'm saving it on TFTP.
So,
TFTP.
so is it better? So is it better to in real production? Is it better to copy in a TFTP or in an FTP server? Or it
In
doesn't matter, really
TFTP,
matter.
for the routers configuration, you will always use TFTP. And if you want to perform lab exactly like production, what you can do, you can install TFTPC. This is your laptop, and on your laptop you have installed what? EVNG, correct? You all have installed EVNG. In EVNG you have routers, you have switches. And how can I connect this router to my local laptop, guys? Through management interface, right? 192.168.1.201 admin and if. See, this is my EVNG. In the EVNG, you can see the management interface here, network, and then type is going to be management cloud. This is your laptop virtual NIC, which will connect your EVNG to your laptop, local laptop. So let's suppose my local laptop NIC IP address is 192.168.1.100, and your EVNG management interface is directly connected to this interface, right? And now through management you can connect these all routers, or you can use one switch here. Here you have performed the configuration on this router, and you want to take backup like we take backup in the production. So on your local laptop, what you can do, you can install TFTP server. TFTP server. And let's suppose on this interface I have configured one IP 192.168.1.2 or 1. Can I ping my local laptop IP address from this router? Yes, I can ping. Both are in same subnet and it is connected with virtual switch. It is like virtual switch only, the management cloud. That means your TFTP is also reachable. So here you will run command what? Copy running configuration to TFTP. It will ask you for the destination address. Destination address is going to be your local laptop IP address. It will save the configuration on real TFTP server. Getting my point? Right? Otherwise, packet tracer is also fine. You can perform lab in packet tracer quickly. You don't need to install any software. On switch also, I am going to say configure, copy running configuration into FTP IP address 192.168.1.15. Destination file name is going to be switch config. You can see it is copied. 1211 bytes of data is copied on the TFTP server. You will see now you have switch configuration as well. Right? Now, here, so a startup. In a startup, still I don't have any configuration. If I will restart my router, then configuration will lost. Now here I am also going to configure some password. User name is already created. Do so run. Username is admin and password was, I think, Cisco. Here you can perform lots of configuration, and after this I am going to save it into the startup. Copy running configuration into a startup, or there is one shortcut command that is write it. And now if you will reboot your router, you will not lose configuration this time. Still host name is going to be router number 1. Can I log into this router, guys? Now enable. I'm able to log in because password is not configured on. console port, line console 0 password, let's say anything, any password, right? Line VTY 04 password, anything. Then that's it, and let me save the configuration. Copy running configuration into a startup configuration. Copy running configuration into a startup configuration, and let me. Now can I access this router?
Probably not, because you will not remember the passwords.
Now see, I got the access. Enable. I got the access. It is not asking for password. Exit. Exit. Here is the log message and enable. If I will try to access through console, enable password is actually, I think, not configured here. If I will access it through console port, can I access? Terminal. Okay. Why it is not asking? What happened? I think there is some. So run. Check the console interface. Console interface is protected. Even enable password is configured. Why it is not asking for password then? No, I think there is some issue. So a startup configuration. Password is there. It should ask for password. Let me do one thing. Let me use another router here. This one on this router. Just I'm going to perform some basic configuration and one password. And after that, you tell me how I can access this router if I forget the password. At least tell me the steps, right? I will do that. You only need to tell me the step. Enable.
We can change that config register always, like to recover the password.
App configure enable password, then line console 0 password, host name I2 interface F0/0, no shutdown, IP address 10.1.1.255.0.0.0, any configuration, and save it and restart it. This time it should ask for password.
Password.
But I don't know the password. So what I will do? I will change the configuration register number. But now I want to change the behavior of this router. Guys, whatever we have discussed till now, these are basic iOS operating system, like saving the configuration, taking backup of your configuration on TFTP server, some basic configuration. Now this is changing the booting behavior of your router. The default configuration revision number is, how I can find the configuration register number? So version, in version. Here you can see 0x2102, and I told you the default behavior. What is the behavior? Even I should have one PDF for password recovery as well. Let me check. I will share that also with you, and I think that is already shared with you guys. Search with password. How to break password. Open. Yes, I was looking for this only. So you can configure password online V2I, enable password and console on the console interface. To break the password, you have to understand configuration register number. What is configuration register number? It is 16 bits value represented in decimal, stored in NVRAM, tells the booting behavior of routers and switches. By default configuration revision number is this one, and these three are the configuration register number which you need to understand, right? This one is the default one. A second one is 0x2100 and 0x2142. You already know about the memory of router. See the booting behavior of this configuration register number. Copy iOS operating system from flash to RAM, and then copy RAM data into the NVRAM data into the RAM. You have already seen on router number 1 in packet tracer. When I have reloaded, it has already stored the NVRAM data into the RAM. See the another configuration register number, this one, booting behavior of 0x2142. It is only going to copy iOS from flash to RAM. It will skip NVRAM data. On router number 2, I had configured password, and where is my password stored? In NVRAM? Yes or no? In a startup configuration, password is saved.
Yes,
if router
correct.
will not copy NVRAM data, then it will not ask me for password. So I need to set this configuration register number. How can I do this? On router.
You have to boot the router into Ramon and set the config register to 2142.
Exactly. Here I am going to turn off my router. Again I will turn it on, and while booting I will press Ctrl+C, and there was a command to change register number. Command is CONFREG.
Config.
Right? And what should be my configuration register number? 0x2142. Enter, and now reset your router. After reset, it will not ask me for password. Yes or no? Based on what we have learned. Now you can see. But Praphul, I lost the configuration. What if we had critical configuration there? Brother, you didn't lose the configuration. Your configuration is safe. So a startup. Your configuration is still present in a startup configuration. You can see host name I2. Still present in my startup configuration, but router has not copied it this time. Now you can change the password. Enable password. Cisco. No. Now what I can do here, see, do show version. If I will use this configuration register number, then my router is never going to copy NVRAM data into the RAM. This is again issue. So I need to set it on the default only. But before that, I need to break the password. I need to recover the password. So I am in configure terminal mode, and here I am going to run command copy startup configuration to running configuration. This command is going to copy my configuration. Now you can see earlier hostname was router, this time hostname is R2, and now I can set new password here. Enable password Cisco and line console 0 password Cisco line. Okay, why it was not asking for password earlier? Because I had forget to run login command here, right? So when someone will try to log in, then you will ask for password login. After that, line VTY 024 and password Cisco and login. And now I am going to update startup configuration. Do right. Now exit. Now you know the password. You have set the new password. Let's try Cisco. Now again I need to change the configuration register number, but this time you don't need to enter in Roman mode. Here only you can do it in configuration terminal mode. Config T and say configuration register value 0x2102 was the default configuration register number, correct? And show version, let's verify it. So version, what it's saying, configuration register number is still 0x2142, but will be 0x2102 at next reload. So now let's reload this router. System configuration has modified, save no, what I should say here, yes or no?
Yes, sir. You should know, because if you save it in 2142 and again forget this password for 214, because you have made a config change on 2142 and you have now enabled a password. Let's just hypothetically you forget the password of the config you saved in 2142 and you also
What is
forget the password
asking
for
that
2102.
whatever you have modified, do you want to save that? Definitely I want to save that. Yes.
You want to say it should be yes.
But if you forget the password now for both the configs, what's the way to recover then?
Again same, I will go in Roman mode and I will change the configuration register number. Now my password
But
is,
you will set it to 2142 and you don't even remember the password for 2142.
no, now my configuration division number is changed. See here.
Yes, it
So
is changed to 2102. I understand that after the reload.
now again
But
if
the
I will forget the password, then I will repeat the step.
but when we did the config change on 2142 config register, we did set up a password through the config register 2142, where we copied the configuration from startup mode, startup config, which was originally set by 2102. The startup was set by 2102. So we copied that startup config in the config register 2142 and then set another password and then change the config register. So didn't we make that config change in the config register 2142 and set up a password
No, I didn't
also in?
understood. You said too many things.
I think I understand. I think I understand, and I understand
Please
his
help him.
question. What? Yeah, he's trying. I think what you should do, you just go through the same process. Once you finish recovering your password, you should come back and change the configuration registration again to 0x
I understand. Yeah, I understood that part.
Sorry,
So
I think I understand you. Let me help you out.
yeah, you
You
go back.
missed the point of the configuration register. The configuration register is just the booting behavior. And so anytime you lose your password, you now are changing the behavior so you are able to reset the password. So it doesn't matter the number of times you forget the
I
password.
understood that.
Yeah,
Password
Ahmed.
is
Yeah, Ahmed. Actually, you
password
are saying
is not
it is.
linked.
Oh my God.
The password is not linked to the configuration register. The configuration register is only the booting behavior. Password would always be saved as part of the RAM. So please remember what the process is. Changing the booting behavior. It doesn't matter what the password is. If you forget it and you are able to change the booting behavior, you would always get it. It's not linked
Exactly.
to the
Exactly.
registration register.
Exactly.
Now see, my startup configuration and running configuration both have new password and I have set the default configuration register value as well. Now there is one more configuration register value. You should at least have idea about that for a very critical scenario when your flash memory is not working properly to boot up my router from room, right? See, in this configuration division number, how router is going to boot up, it is going to look up room and it will store mini iOS in the RAM. That's it. It will not copy NVRAM data, not copy flash memory data, right? And if configuration register number is 0x2142 and your configuration, full configuration is in startup, then manually you have to run command every time, copy startup configuration into running configuration. right? This is the process. Here also you can see the about configuration register number, and here is the basic configuration. So now what I want, guys, whoever are configuring Cisco routers and switches for the first time, you guys need to practice these commands multiple times, like configuring IP address on the interface C. Like if you will ask me to configure IP address on the router, so I am very comfortable with commands. That my first command is going to be configure P, then interface F0/0, no shutdown, IP address, and then IP address and submit mask. To configure the banner on the router, my command is banner MOTD, after that any special character, and then message, and end with again same special character. So these are the basic commands which we need to practice again and again until and unless you will get good hands-on, that you are comfortable, you are able to configure the device without checking commands in your PDF or in your notebook. You need to configure until you are familiar, you are able to configure routers automatically, right? How many things you will do in the initial configuration? Host name, you will start from the host name, then interface configuration, configuring enable password, configuring password on line console 0, on line VTY interface, then enabling telnet, enabling DHCP, enabling SSH, enabling what? Encrypting all the passwords, saving your configuration, taking backup of your configuration to TFTP server, then again recovering your configuration from TFTP to router. Like here on the TFTP server, I can have configuration, basic configuration of a router. Like let's suppose I am going to add one new router here, and on this new router I have some configuration which is required on all the routers. I have 100 numbers of router in my company, and these configurations will be same on all the routers. So I will perform configuration on this router. Like note, I will change the host name because host name is variable. Our router 1 will have different host name, router 2 will have different host name, but your enable password is going to be same on all the router. Let's say Cisco @123, enable password, then line VTY 024, and again password, this one login or login local, sorry, line VTY login local. Then up configure on console, line console, not configure, line console 0, password same, and login local. I want these configurations on all the router. Service, password, encryption, service, and time is, then date and time in millisecond, debug time and date in millisecond, and then service log. For log also I want to set time step, log date and time in millisecond. Then enabling telnet, line VTY 024, transport input telnet, or if you want to enable both telnet and SSH, you can say transport input all, transport input all. Then creating users, I want these users on all the router. Let's suppose on hundreds of router. User admin privilege should be 15, and password Cisco @123. Then tell me some other configurations. Like later you are going to learn port security configuration on the switch, on the router you are going to learn many configurations. Like let's suppose enabling OSPF routing protocol, or in the basic configuration, let's suppose enabling DHCP IP, DHCP pool, Cisco network, network 192.168.1.0 mask 255.255.255.0, and for this network gateway should be 192.168.1.100. One more pool is there, IP DHCP pool Cisco 1 network 192.168.2.0, subnet mask same, and gateway IP address 2.100. Right, let's suppose these configurations are common on all the router. What I can do, I can take backup of this configuration, copy. First of all, I have to configure one IP to make reachability, F0/0 no cert, and IP address. IP address is 192.168.1. Let's say 20.255.255.255.0. I can ping to TFTP server, ping 192.168.1.15 was the IP. What is the IP of TFTP server? 15. Let me check ping is working or not. Ping is working, so copy running configuration to TFTP, IP address of TFTP 192.168.1.15, file name, destination file name. Let's suppose basic config. What I said, basic config, and data is copied on the TFTP server. You can verify it. Now let's suppose you have one new router. You are adding one new router in your network. Doesn't matter where you are connecting it. There should be routing, and you will learn the routing. You will master the routing. Right? This router, if this router number 4 is reachable from TFTP, I can copy all the initial configuration. Yes or no? See, copy. It will not change the host name, but it will create the same user. It will protect all the interfaces. Config T interface F0/0, the initial configuration you will perform through console. No cert, IP address 192.168.1.21, 255.255.255.0, exit, and ping 192.168.1.15. Ping is not working. Ping is working now. Now see, copy TFTP to running configuration and IP address 192.168.1.15. Source file name, it was basic config, right? Destination same. Enter. Now you can see it has copied the initial configuration. Now so run. You can see you have DHCP pool configuration, you have enable password configuration, you have user admin, you have this interface we configure manually, right? Line VTY configuration, line console configuration, right? And now rest configuration I can do manually, like changing host name or whatever other configurations are required. Now even if I am connecting any router in another side, then also it can take configuration, initial configuration from the TFTP server if there is IP reachability. In our entire course, the most important thing is routing only. If this server is somewhere else and this router is somewhere else in another country, in another city, then how they will be reachable from each other? Till now, what we learn? We learn that there are some network services, right? It can be HTTP, it can be FTP, TFTP, right? Later you will learn AAA, it can be AAA server. And I can have somewhere clients and performing routing between these servers and these clients. This is the reason why network is required in every corporate company. A stable and fast network is required, right? So now what we will do, now we have covered the basic iOS as well, right? In next class we'll see if we have missed anything. Otherwise, now I am going to teach you first how to set up or configure LAN network, local area network, whatever protocols we are going to run on switches, like configuring switch port. What is switch port? Layer 2 port, right? Then VLAN, or before that switch. There are two types of switch port: access port and trunk port. So we'll understand what is access port, trunk port. We'll understand VLANs. We'll understand protocols like DTP, VTP, right? Port security, right? 802.1x authentication, right? Because it should be not like this in the corporate. For an example, your LAN port, right? This is the switch or access point, doesn't matter. Both are connecting users only, right? But will you allow everyone to connect their laptop to your network, to your LAN network, so that they can enter in the company network? No, will not do that, right? So here we'll see the port security, 802.1x authentication. Someone had asked me to cover map, so map also. After that, loop avoidance protocol. You will understand a very critical or dangerous thing in the LAN network, that is layer 2 loop. How to avoid that loop through STP. In STP there are so many topics. Then ether channel, then layer 2 and layer 3 ether channel. Again in ether channel so many topics are there, span and so on. So many switching topics are there. These all protocols and features will be configured on switches, right? So from tomorrow I am going to start a new module, that is switching module. Okay, before that we'll check if we have missed anything in the iOS. We'll revise it and then we'll move on the switch. How to build a stable, fast and smart LAN network. The purpose of this module is how to design, configure a stable, high available, fast and smart LAN network for corporates, right? Where I will have clients, servers, printers, IP phone, right? IP phone is also there. Like when IP phone is connected on switch, then configuration is going to be different, right? So forget about the router configuration now.
Sir, is there any IP phone?
Yeah, it is available.
Sir, is there any IP phone for no, not packet tracer? I'm talking about GNS3 or Eve Engine.
No, it is in packet tracer only. Otherwise, you need physical IP phone. I think the virtual operating system is not available for EVNG. Basu is there, who is expert in these all things. Basu, please explore it. If it is available, it will be great. Then we can set up the real-time lab for IP phone also.
Praphul.
Yes.
Praphul, hello.
Yes,
If it was possible for every class that we have, if we can have like a lab that we can practice ourselves, like, you know what I mean? Like this one, we just finished the initial configuration. If you have prepared like some labs that you put on the group, so everyone that has time can practice, you know.
Okay, earlier
That's
I
the
had given you one
proposition.
basic lab. That time you said that I am not going to perform this basic lab. I am already done with this. I am waiting for advanced lab. So which kind of lab
Well, okay.
you need?
Well, I was just proposing.
This is lab only what
Well,
I have configured.
well, it's okay. Okay. It's okay. I was just proposing.
Right?
Can you repeat how you copied from? Can you hear me?
Go one by one.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Yeah.
hear you.
Can you tell how to copy from server to router one more time?
Copy
That
TFTP to
command
running
which you gave.
configuration. Everything is written here in the
Okay, got it. Thank you.
PDF.
Please share this
Okay.
PDF.
It is already shared with all
That's
of
what
you.
I wanted to ask you, sir.
Yes, Jab.
Just copy where you are doing.
Copy TFTP
Yeah, okay.
running configuration or
Y-
startup configuration. Yes, Jab. Now you can speak.
So please
Praful,
share this. Anyways, he will upload the video, I think, so we can see it in the video. But my question is for you, sir. It's all the the notes that you showed us. I tried to find it in your drive. They are not all inside, I think. Are you going to upload it, please? Or where can I get? Where can I get? Can find it?
See, if you have not received
Yeah,
the
the
PDF,
PDF is,
just put
that you
message
have.
in your WhatsApp group. Do we have session on AAA? Yes, sir. We will have
I have
session on
received
AAA,
some.
Radius, and TechX. No TechX. Nowadays, we are not using
Okay.
TechX. We will have session on Radius.
Are you speaking to me?
No, I am talking to someone else. Someone was asking about the
Okay.
Radius
So
server.
for the PDFs, all the PDFs, I have to write something on the group. Is that what it said?
Yes, in the group say I did not receive the PDF.
Okay.
Right?
Thank
If
you.
anyone have not received the have not got the access to the drive, you can put message in the chat again.
I have already message
I had
for
also
that
shared
access.
the link, drive link. Right, so through drive link also you can access it directly. Let me share again.
That's what I am saying. You in the drive, I have found some notes, but not all.
Can you share the drive link in chat so we can directly check right now?
sir, I have received the drive link in which the PDF is not found, sir.
Yeah, I'm looking for that only. Let me just give me a minute. My drive.
This PDF is also in the drive.
All the PDF should be there. Let me check.
Yes, please.
Yes, all the PDF is there, na?
I
See,
have the link
basic
handy. Should I
iOS
post
commands.
it?
Basic iOS command, how to break the password on router. Whatever PDF I am using in the
This
class,
one
you
was
can
not
see.
shared with this.
This is not shared. This is. Can you share in this chat right now so we can check
Yeah, I am sharing, but
that
see,
in
there
chat?
are so many files, so don't make sure you guys will not get confused and you will not open other books and those
Right,
are
right,
things.
right.
The reason why I was
Sure,
not
sure,
sharing
sure.
this earlier because it was like maybe someone will get confused, right? So for CCNA, you will open this folder and inside this you can find whatever I am using, whatever PDF I am using in the class. Okay? Now let me
Okay,
share.
Praful,
okay.
in
Okay.
in that CCNA folder, the basic iOS command PDF, it's after page 21. It's everything is blank, like for next 5 pages. It's a 26-page PDF,
There is no
but
26
there's
page.
content
There are
only.
only I think 20 page, 20 to
Okay,
25 pages are there. The
okay.
blank
Because when
pages
I
are for
opened that,
future.
you could see some empty. Oh, okay.
In
All right.
future we will add there, right? So automatically drive will also get updated.
Okay.
So here in the
Yeah,
chat,
Praful, Nidhi here.
Google Meet chat, I have
Yeah,
shared
I
the
was
drive link. Yes, Nidhi.
Yeah, I was saying the labs which actually you are actually going through in the class. I'm trying to do the same, but since I'm just starting from the beginning, so if there's any lab, for the people who have just started, maybe you
This
can
is the lab, na? Here,
give it
see
in the
here
group
from
so that I
here.
can.
This is the lab, getting familiar. This is the lab, configure. Host name on the
Okay, this
router.
I will do.
This is
This I
one
will do.
task.
So is it enough for the practice or?
Yeah, for
Okay.
basic, this is enough. You need to practice
Okay.
this multiple time. This host name is not only the thing. There are, I think, around 15 or 16 tasks.
Okay.
12, 13. 14 tasks are there in the basic
Okay,
module.
sure. I got it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Prabhu, thank you.
Welcome. Anything else, guys?
Praphul, one more doubt. One
Go
doubt.
ahead. Go ahead.
Hello. Praphul, in the modern enterprise network, currently in 2025, people still uses TFTP server, or are they using any automation tool to configure the initial configuration just right after when you as an IP to the interface to get the reachability?
Correct.
Still, network engineers prefer TFTP or any automation tools.
Yes.
Yes,
We
right
have
now
automation
SCP
tools.
is
Go ahead. Go ahead.
right now in my organization SCP is using, not TFTP.
Okay. SCP.
Like based on their requirement.
Correct. SCP is also there.
TP.
TFTP is also there. Sometime you will find TFTP. Sometime other tools as well, right? But this is what you need to learn first. Doesn't matter what we are using, right? If you want to learn that the modern tools or automation tools, first you have to understand how to save our router configuration on TFTP or SCP.
Okay.
Right? Automation is going to help you. Automation is your tool. It is tool of network engineer, which will help you to run multiple commands simultaneously on multiple routers through a script.
But not
Automation
for
is
the
not,
initial configuration, right?
yeah, automation is not any tool like TFTP, which is going to store my configuration. Right? What command I am running here? Copy running configuration to a startup configuration. We can write a script to run this command on router through automation. Okay, sir.
Okay, got it. So only they will do is physically they will just access it and just put the IP address on the interface. That's it, right?
Correct.
And older days previously they usually use USB, right? For zero touch deployment. Nowadays nobody is using that one. Still using USB to load the configuration.
Correct.
Okay.
So it's done.
Thank you, sir. Powerful. We have, I received already
Hello, sir.
all the files, I think.
It's done for today.
Yes, we are done for today. Thank you. Bye bye. Let's connect tomorrow.
So, goodbye, everybody. Good night.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, got
Sir,
it.
before I was asking, sir, what about the EVNG?
Mm-hmm.
Sir, how to install in EVNG in my laptop?
How to install EVNG in your laptop?
Sir, before you was send the link, then not installed.
Yeah, Praphul has sent the video.
You have sent the video. Where you have sent the video, sir?
This is a Vasu.
Here is the video to set up EVNG in your laptop. In the chat, Basu is shared the video to set up EVNG in your laptop.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you, Praphul.
Welcome everyone. Bye bye, guys. Good night. See you tomorrow.